Past 2 nights, you have heard Brett Favre go on the record about his possible comeback, but you haven't seen anything yet. Was Brett Favre ever lied to by Packer management? Brett went on the record about his true relationship with Packers general manager Ted Thompson.
Ted and I thought, have always had a good relationship. We don't talk a whole lot. We don't go out and eat and shoot the bull. But on 3 different occasions, I don't want to say lied. I think that's kind of a harsh word, but I think untruth or whatever is better. When he first took over as the GM, I was wishy-washy on my decision, if that's what you want to call it.
Which is at what point?
He took over, what is that, 05 or somewhere. He's 3-4 years. After 17 years, they run together, Greta. But we had two of our guards, fine football players, Rivera on the right, Mike Wahle on the left, were both up for contract. We knew that going into the season that year. Ted takes over towards the latter part of the season. The season is over. I'm weighing my decision. Ted called me, hey, you know, this is right after the season. I said, Ted, you got to re-sign my lineman. As a quarterback, that's important to you. I said, you know, you got to, at least one of them. Okay, I'll do that. So when I decided to come back, the following day, both guys signed elsewhere. Okay, no big deal. I mean, it was a big deal, but, you know. So the next year, Mike Sherman is let go. And I said, Ted, will you do me a favor? And Steve Mariucci had been released probably 4 weeks previous with a few games left in the season. Close friend of mine. Everyone knows that. And he and I talked occasionally, and I said, hey, how is it, you know? He said, I have to admit, I get time, you know, have time to spend with my kids. I got 4 kids, and, you know, I miss it, but, you know, a lot of small talk. And so when our season is over and we don't have a coach, I said, Ted, will you do me a favor? Would you interview Steve Mariucci? Not would you sign him, or I'm not coming back. I said, would you interview him? And his exact words to me were, well, from what I understand, he doesn't want to coach again right now. And I said, that's true. But I talked to him 2 days ago, a day ago, whatever. And I said, would you be interested in coaching in Green Bay? And he's from Iron Mountain, Michigan, hour-and-a-half north. And he said, that's always been a dream job. Sure, I would. So I tell Ted that. And he says, okay. So I go home, and I'm down here. And next thing I know, Mike McCarthy's hired as the head coach, which, so what? You know, he may do a fine job, whatever, no problem. And I thought, yeah, that's a little odd. So I called Steve. I said, how did the interview go? What interview? He said, there was no interview. I said, did Ted talk to you? He said, yeah. He said, a couple of days after McCarthy was hired, he called me and just wanted to know if everything was okay, how you doing, and all that stuff. And I thought, okay. So that's 2. The third one, that just kind of, the trust part is not there, is the whole Randy Moss deal, which I have tried to be quiet on that whole deal. I worked my butt off 2 years ago to try to get them to sign Randy Moss. And I'm being as honest as I can be. I've told the media, nah, you know, did I want him? Yeah, you know. But we had every opportunity to sign him. And had we offered him $3 million guaranteed instead of 1.6 and $100,000 per game, if he dresses for that game, if we'd have just given him $3 million guaranteed and taken off the second year, we'd have had him. I know that for a fact. And when they wouldn't do that, I'd offer to give up part of my salary, which you know, is just an endless thing during that week up until the draft. And so I tell them all this stuff, you know, hey, you know, Randy can't really run anymore. We watch him on film. He takes plays off and all this stuff I'm hearing. I'm like, look, the guy is scheduled to make $9 million with Oakland, 9.5 or whatever. And he is willing to drop $6 million, $6.5 million, whatever, for 1 year. That tells me a lot. And I know there's been some bad blood with Randy and all that stuff. I mean, he stuck it to us and a couple of things. But you know what? People can change. So I have no problem with him signing or not signing him. Yeah, I lobbied hard, but after the draft that year, Ted was asked about, you know, is it true Favre lobbied hard to get, and there had been a lot of stuff about Tom Brady calling and getting Randy Moss, and I think a lot of Tom, but I'm thinking, man, You know, he makes a couple of calls and gets him signed. I've been working my tail off for a week.
And offering my salary.
Offering, and Andrew Brand, who was our financial guy at the time, he knows. Now, he is not with the Packers now, but he can confirm this. So they may not, but he can confirm this. And Ted's asked about it after the draft. Hey, you know, the fact that they didn't sign him, yeah, I was upset. But what upsets me more is when he was asked, hey, is it true Favre lobbied hard? Not that I'm aware of. No, that's bull. That's bull. And, you know, I took the high road, came in for the season. Hey, you know, the Randy Moss thing, let's let it go. Okay. Well, I mean, you know, he can't run anymore. You know, he takes plays off. He had 23 touchdowns this year, broke an NFL record. And so that's where I stand on that. And that's the third thing, you know. And none of those had anything to do with me retiring once again. But, you know, it's hard for me to trust, you know, this guy when either I'm told one thing and everyone else is told another, or he's telling the public one thing, telling me another. And so, and that's part of the reason for the release. Not only was I told that playing here was not an option, we're moving on. It's kind of been their company line, moving on. That's okay. That's okay if they want to move on. That's okay, Greta. And I told them that. Mike and I, June 20th, we had a conversation, and I said, you know, I'm thinking about coming back.
Coming up over